heard both ventilate and number. I don't know if that helps.
What was the first thing you said?
Ventilate.
Ventilate.
We thought we heard old man.
I think old man was her last name. So I'm actually going to switch this to numbers if I'm following directions. See if any numbers come. 6?
Really? Maybe the word strike?
Strike?
Strike. Maybe? Strike.
Oh.
Can I sit? Can we sit?
No.
Aww.
And what year were you born? Give me the last 2 numbers of your birth. Birth year. Keeps giving me the number 3. Like over and over and over again.
Yeah, something's happening right around here. I don't know what.
Come
About
there,
like
you-
5 years. Exact spot.
Any numbers showing up?
Well,
Keep getting 3 and 0. Like those are the 2 numbers that keep popping up.
did someone die
No, that doesn't help.
30 years old?
Heard smoke? We got smoke.
What color is your hair?
That's a song.
Stop flickering.
That was both two-step
What
and
color is your hair?
hairstyles. I don't know the song.
It's not what I want. I want what color is your hair?
Kitty's so determined.
Gotta
Huh?
be direct with them pirates.
What?
She's so determined. I want to know what color is your hair.
Yeah, I want to see a flying magical Orby.
Keeps giving me the same numbers, 3s and 0s.
I just keep hearing random famous songs.
Oh yeah, you're listening to the radio.
Yeah.
It's okay, we're gonna come on back anyway. Katie, Calvin.
Ken, what color is your hair?
If he sits, I'm sitting. Did you hear scoff at me? People like to scoff at me. I'm sit. Okay. Gold? Here, come closer.
We got Jacob.
What?
We thought maybe they were talking about a baseball player, but
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, when I get Ben Roethlisberger on the radio and we're in Lodge Alley, I have it ain't done.
okay, yes.
And what color is your hair? Right on.
And a name that came up on here was Sam.
I saw a little red.
No, move.
Did you guys get anything?
I heard gold.
No, that's right. You guys heard gold earlier, too.
Officer?
I also heard people like to scoff at me.
I heard part of a Harry Styles song.
Everybody.
I heard that too, actually.
I just saw purple. I just saw purple and red.
Okay, we're going to turn off the REM pod portion of that.
I saw
Can I show you how to
red
turn
and
it off? Alright, I'll turn it off. I can help you.
I just saw
No,
red
just
and
move.
purple at the exact. I saw something behind purple and purple.
Purple. You're all about the purple. You were mentioning purple at the Pinky Mansion site, too. Alright, so, let's get you guys these quick answers.
Hey.
I always like to show you again the mugshots. First, you should know that this is one of the few pictures you can find of Anne Bonny where she has a shirt on.
Oh.
Because she used to bare breast to show men that they can just go to a woman. So, obviously, she has red hair. So, we are looking for the color red on her sides. So, this is Anne Bonny.
And I saw red.
The names of her parents were William Cormack and Mary Brennan. So William and Mary were the names we were looking for. Even a Will show up from time to time on your word list. But you guys, none of you were expecting a second Mary, because remember, she had a friend named Mary Reed, on the ship. So again, it's part of the reason why I kind of throw that question out there to see if you guys are going to get something relative to it. The verifier for that would actually be to hear the name Will. I also like to show you Calico Jack because it's a real person that they based Captain Jack Sparrow off of. So with that said, the reason why he's named Calico Jack is because of the jackets that he wore. The jackets came from the British captains that he killed. So Calico Jack, fancy jacket. So that's where he got the name from. The name of his ship was the Kingston. I don't expect any of you to hear Kingston directly on a spirit box because that's not a normal term you would hear on the radio, but the word king would actually suffice in this location as a direct answer. So, he had other ships, but I also want to point out that Calico Jack is dubbed with creating the skull and crossbones, which is actually skull and cross swords, that you all affiliate with a pirate flag. So he's the guy who created that. Calico Jack is actually pretty cool stuff. So, I learned a whole hell of a lot about pirates after that first night coming over here, skeptically, and going, what the hell am I getting myself into with pirates? And I have been reading about them for, what, two years now? Like, going straight, I can't tell you how many books I've read on pirates, trying to piece it all together, because it is pirate lore. So trying to find facts for us to actually make an investigation out of it, you never know what's going to pop up. I am going to start collecting your devices. I'm not super stoked about anything that showed up here, to be quite honest, because you guys weren't giving me specific names, other than the name John that was heard directly on a spirit box. So yeah, turn your volume down first before you pull those out. But yeah, unless I have another clue that verifies that, because Calico Jack's real name was John Rapin. So again, we'll see what comes up out of that. One night we actually heard Rack of Ham, and then the name John showed up a little while later. So it was kind of interesting that and they didn't even know who I was talking about yet. I was still telling the story, and the guy interrupted me and said, "I just heard Rack of Ham." I'm like, his name is spelled Rackham, like Rack Ham.
That's
like,
crazy.
You can't make that up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start collecting these. You guys can ask me more questions. I'll get you my card and get you guys back to your vehicles because I am smoldering and your guys' faces are all glistening as well. So let me stop your audio. That'll kind of give us a gist of how much data you're actually going to get back. Oh, do you guys want to see the video of what was caught here with Antonio's camera that he doesn't believe was an actual orb coming through? Yeah, I think you all do.
Yeah. Why not?
So, you're going to have to kind of huddle around so you can see it. Come on, flip around. There we go. So, let me rewind it a bit. Basically, where you're watching is right behind me, and it's right here at the wall.
Oh, I see that. I just saw an orb.
Oh my goodness. This thing is driving me crazy. Everything it upside down. Watch behind me coming this way. This is the second night we got that upgrade camera. I was stoked. I couldn't wait to make a video out of it.
Yeah.
I just got a flash.
Changes direction.
Yeah.
What's that?
I just got a flash
We got a flash.
of light.
Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Stop the recording so I know where to watch it. I know, history is long and boring, but we're wrapping it up. So, I only left out 2 questions for you Spirit Box folks. I'm not going to assign questions. You can really ask whatever you want to here. So, for your device, you will use the REM pod, the motion sensor, and you're going to be asking about Anne Bonny's hair color. Hopefully, she will show you what color her hair was. I don't expect numbers here, so don't get excited if you get close to those bushes and you start getting numbers. They're coming from the parking meters and the 2 electrical poles in the corner. As far as the questions that I left out the names of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the name of the father and his mistress. So see if you can find out what that is. And I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So that should give you guys at least something to get started with. For those of you with cameras and you'd like to get some...
That's not a black part?
No. Not the black part.
Is it Queen Anne's Revenge?
No.
Still the movie.
Actually, that was a real ship. That one was a real ship.
Yeah.
So, those of you with cameras that want to check out the front of the powder magazine, oh, by the way, the Henry Lawrence Pinckney that I spoke of earlier is buried at the cemetery on the other side. It's basically half a block away from the powder magazine. This is where we normally get the clues for Henry Lawrence Pinckney in this area because I don't have access to the cemetery over there. So, that's only Bulldog tours only. And I've been wanting to get into hey, let's end this on a Pinckney since we start with a Pinckney. So I'm always changing things up anyway. But anyway, if you want to get up there, the only thing I ask you to not do is get in the way of the other tours. So again, they're going to tell their story and move on. Just wait your turn so you can get some footage of the front lawn, and let's have some fun with this. But I'm actually going to head over towards the wall next to the powder magazine. If anybody wants to follow me, I'm going to be using that new little toy device. But I want to see, definitely want to get that little white button pushed in.
Okay, I got judge while you were talking.
I'm not surprised. Can I see what else you have? Just
Yeah.
kind of separate a little bit.
Also, I've been giving his hands a break, and I don't know what happened. I have no idea when that happened.
Can I see?
It just turned
looks like a
off.
phone. All right. So nothing else on there besides the
Can
charger.
you do one more good search for us?
One more good search, buddy. Let
You
me
got
get
it,
this
Leo.
tested out.
We are getting late.
I don't hear that name
remember
very often.
the
What made
name-
you guys name him that?
Just liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it was, we wanted to be out of the top 100.
Yeah.
And we wanted to be kind of old school.
I got you.
Uncle Leo Seinfeld.
Fair enough. My daughter's name, my youngest, is London.
Oh, okay.
So, like, her name has got a lot of meaning behind it. So, her ruling planet, you guys have to imagine what I do for a living, is the moon. And her name is London Ray, and it means wise protector of the fortress of the moon. So, again, that's what her name means, because her ruling planet, ironically, is not actually a planet, it's the moon.
Yeah.
So, again, her name has a lot of, when I ask people about, like, why they did that, and my other daughter's name is Serena, and that's a witch's name because she was born on Halloween.
Oh.
So, and it wasn't planned, so that's my stepdaughter, so. But yeah.
We have a friend named Serena.
But yeah, Serena Christiana is her name.
Okay.
And then I have London Ray. But that's when I hear odd names, because I'm a writer, I'm like, Leo's a great character name. Where can I use that? So, all right.
Just saw it on the list and liked it, and it felt like it went with Calvin. Like Leo and Calvin, a little bit older.
I like it.
So, are we looking for?
Like trying to find some names of people. Wait, who are the names we're looking for? Parents.
And the name of the ship.
And the name of the ship.
So, do I ask him about it or do I just listen?
Either way. You can go straight into Ann, or you could just listen in and see what actually pops up.
I'm tired and hot. Keep hitting Florida Georgia line and Katy Perry.
Stop listening. Anca, stop. You think I'm not tired?
Yes. You're holding it. I have not seen a single thing here. What was I supposed to be looking for on this?
So, let me show you. Come over here.
Let go.
Oh.
Should just let that work instead of staring at it. Alright, so the second night I got that upgrade, this is what we caught exactly where we're standing right now. So look right over here and it'll come flying in. Did you see that giant ball of light come through and then change direction?
The camera light? Yeah.
It's not a camera light.
Uh-huh.
It's not a... Look through your camera. Do you see a ball of light moving around? And that camera was perfectly still. Watch again.
No, I don't see it.
Exactly.
Oh, I see it there, yeah.
So the lights are perfectly even. The camera's not moving. I'm showing somebody how to use a laser grid with that camera. And no other lights were around us.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I'm looking for. And that's actually probably one of the best things we've ever caught with one of those cameras. Now this one is going to be right down here in the corner. The camera also stays pretty still. It's very quick and small. That's Lodge Alley. You should recognize that place.
Yeah.
Did you see it go by? The
Yeah.
little tiny like speck? That's not a bug. If it was a bug, it would have stayed lit. So those are the little tiny things that we're looking for.
Okay.
Now, when I'm using laser grids with that guy, I have lasers that you can't see the lasers till something passes through it. So somebody else would be holding the lasers for you as you film through it. So if something actually goes in the middle of it, you can actually see what's actually there, and we have it on film. So we have a lot of pictures from that. We don't have any film footage of any evidence from that yet, but we do have a lot of... Let's see what this is. It started to spell.
What do you
Maybe I
get?
haven't changed the letters. So it gives us letters at the bottom based on any EMF spike. So we'll see if there's any kind of words being spelled out of it. Are you guys hearing anything?
It's just her.
Oh, you, the only one that has it. Do you have anything that you've heard?
Huh? I heard Harry.
Harry?
Yeah.
Hold that. I gotta write stuff down.
Was that one of the parents?
No. But it is definitely...
It just gave us both of our initials.
Which are?
AI.
How do you say your last name?
Yuan.
Yuan.
That's what I thought. What does it say now?
K.
Okay.
Q-A-I-K. Quake.
We're Quakers.
It just gave me an R.
Is that an S?
No. An A. Going fast.
Interesting. So Harry got out of that one. Calvin, you got anything coming out of yours?
We heard John.
Calvin Jackson, real name. Real name is John. Everything else public.
Angel Castle workers speak.
Heard God twice and
And what?
Satan.
Satan?
Satan.
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 We have a lot of them.
Maybe on that side.
Okay, click it again.
Nope, nope, wait, stay.
Keep getting the letter J. That's not giving me anything else. Here's the letter N. That was the judge's name.
What color is your hair?
That looks like Minecraft. The straight, flat wall and the brick block. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Ow! 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 So mean. My legs hurt.
Yeah, mine too.
My legs hurt. I heard ventilate from a British guy.
What?
I heard ventilate. Number.
See what?
A little baby lizard, he said, but I don't see it.
Say, Ron.
Ooh, can I have that?
Sure.
Okay. Can I actually?
Yeah, they we actually guys took Mike's store last night. You're already gonna know this first about the baby. So when we were coming out of Lodge Alley and you guys heard the term baby, did you guys take any other ghost tours here in town?
No.
Okay. 'Cause
This is our first time in town.
every tour but me normally tells the story on a regular basis. So obviously you guys might learn a little bit different detail about this just because of what we're doing. So across the street there is a sign right inside the graveyard. It says there's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost. So the reason for that is because in 1888, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. And we talked about initials earlier. If you put Sue Howard Hardy's initials together, which do come up here, and it's very cheesy, very campy, I hate even bringing it up, but it happens all the time. Sue Howard Hardy. So it does pop up, especially on the word list. So we will get SHH all the time over here. Now, the interesting thing is she died 6 days after her stillborn child, which means the baby was born without breath. So, very sad story. But in 1987, a local photographer was taking pictures of all of our cemeteries, putting a book together, and he found a full apparition in one of his photographs. He sent it to Kodak because he didn't know what to do with the photograph, and he didn't have the technology that we have today, but Kodak didn't know what to do with this picture either. So for guys like me, this thing is like gold. However, the picture's cursed. Did Mike tell you guys about the curse?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Say gold.
So based on, you have to imagine, and we already kind of discussed Ouija boards, and I do other things besides take you guys ghost hunting all the time, the picture's cursed with females that are handling it. So in the event that we have the word baby, so I will obviously send you a link to the story, but if the photograph is in there, I normally put a warning on there that it is cursed to females. You're going to get the same type of symptoms we talked about at the beginning, so headache, nausea, dizziness. If females handling it that are pregnant, probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the story. It's part of the reason why I don't always tell this story, but I'm not going to be the guy where somebody handled the photograph on my tour and 9 months later I cursed your family. So I'm not going to be that guy. So I'm going to show you the photograph and kind of zoom in on the apparition. You guys, I've already seen it with Mike, I'm sure, but I'll still show you the zoomed in, version that I have.
Yeah, we'd be cursed for other reasons if I had another baby.
So
We kept hearing, related to the Holy Ghost, we kept hearing like Lord God
you're
Christ.
next to the church. It happens here all the time.
No, earlier.
How much earlier? Like starting with Lodge Alley?
No,
Around-
even before that.
Even
Yeah, before that.
Okay.
Like all the way.
Before that and
normally
in the alley.
It starts like Lodge Alley by Philadelphia Alley because we're so close to St. Philip's. So that happens all the time. This is the full picture he took of the cemetery. Your apparition is right here. You're looking at her shoulders, the top of her head, and the baby basket next to her. And yes, this is Sue's grave. So this is probably another instance where the baby's buried with mom.
Yeah.
Because I don't think...
Oh,
yeah, I did
kept
not
the
find
baby
her.
for 17 days?
Well, the baby was born stillborn.
Yeah.
She died 6 days later.
So they kept the baby for 6 days?
Yeah, possibility.
Mm.
Say it one more time, maybe not. Yeah.
So, she's wearing a shawl, shoulder to shoulder, heads, and then obviously the baby basket is next to her, and there's her grave.
Never noticed a baby.
Probably photoshopped, but
Yeah, a lot of people don't like, because
Yeah,
this is normally what they show you.
Yeah.
You know, they don't always zoom in. I like it because even when you zoom in even further on a computer, you can see the weaving on the basket. Like it's there. The shadows are there. It's pretty crazy stuff. Again, stuff like this for me is gold. Like this is, you can't deny what you're looking at. So again, it is what it is. We don't have a direct face, but too many clues are adding up to this is a direct relation. So let's talk about why we're here. Because again, you guys heard the word baby. I believe I wrote it down. If not, I'll double check my notes when I'm done telling the history here. We're here because of that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. So those crosses are not crosses, by the way. Those are earthquake bolts. We mentioned the earthquake that we had here earlier in 1886. The reason I bring this up is because earthquake bolts, if you're unfamiliar with them and nobody explains to you what they actually are, they're turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake, which we haven't, you can turn those turnbuckles in opposite directions, and it's supposed to tighten the building to straighten it back up again after the damage from the earthquake. And you guys have been seeing earthquake bolts all over town and didn't realize what they were. They're like the circulars, the lion heads, the pineapples. It's just part of our Charleston charm. All of this earthquake bolt mess is a great idea. It just doesn't work. So the reason I bring these up is because those are the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston actually put in. So, and that's because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because this is the same time frame that Anne Bonny actually came to Charleston to start her pirate career. So let's kind of get into her story a little bit and kind of, I'll keep this as PG-13 as I possibly can. We're talking pirates. So,
Before you start the story, is this related with people talking? Because I hear like people talking about like either God, death. Well, we're right by the church.
we are by the church.
Talking about God and death. Like, what did I do wrong?
So, I mean, you're still hearing things, which is good. So, but again, nothing directly related to this story yet. We'll kind of give it that.
Gone on the way there.
What'd you get?
Gold.
Like a gong.
Gold. Gold. Yeah.
Oh, gold.
Yeah.
Treasure. I'll take it. It's kind of vague. We'll see what else pops up. If you get like cash money, I think that would work too. So, follow me. There's a couple of twists in this story. I'll slow down when the twists occur, and they're right at the beginning. In 1708, a young lady named Anne Cormack moved here from Ireland. She's with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, the three of them are running away from his wife. Just putting that out there. How angry was the wife that they left their own country? They land in Georgetown, just north of here, between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. So that means Dad has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things going. Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly when she was only 10 or 12 years old. Yeah, kind of a hardcore chick. We're going to fast forward. The building's done in 1713, still familiar, and pirates are coming through town in 1715. So Anne's going to fall in love because she wants her freedom, just like a man. Guy number one. Yes, I'm going to keep tally because there's a handful of them. Guy number one turns out to be James Bonny. You already know the name, so you can already see where this is going. Dad didn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica, they get married. Anne Cormack is now Anne Bonny, your famous female pirate. Now, when they got down there, James Bonny is not Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy is a spy. He's a privateer for the British. This is not who she wants. He's a coward. So, a few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the real person that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. So Calico Jack has his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate ship. Does anybody know why?
It's bad luck for the
Right.
sea.
Good job. So I don't normally get an answer. So nice work on you, buddy. So he makes a deal with her so he can hide her and put her on the ship. If you dress like the crew, basically dress like a guy, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a girl in my quarters. Adults, you kind of see where that's going. So she's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland as a boy apprentice to hide her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, it's a man's world, I'm a pirate, let's go. Being a female in his quarters, let's put two and two together. Obviously, she's going to get pregnant. You can't have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. Everybody's going to figure out she's a girl. And then they're going to vote Jack off the ship. So Jack figures out what's going on, and he sends her over to Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later, we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. But she's also dressed like a girl, and that makes Jack pretty mad because now everybody's going to figure out that he let a girl on the ship. While she was gone giving birth to his baby, he captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck. Anne's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. Guy number 3, in case you lost track. Guy number 3 turns out to be a girl dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack captured. So now we have two females, two girls, pretending to be pirates as guys. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary become girlfriends or friends. We'll just take that for what it is because we're never going to know for sure. But the British find out where they are because they're pirates, and they send their entire fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their one-bullet guns, their flintlocks. Probably because they don't know how to use the cannons yet because they haven't been pirates for very long. Obviously, they're going to get taken because a whole fleet of ships against two women isn't going to work. So they're all getting arrested, and she looks at her captain, her beau, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." So the word dog shows up on your spirit boxes a lot here. The judge, his name is Nick too. So if you guys hear my name on your spirit boxes, it's not me, it's the judge. He wants to see the two men that fought back by themselves after he's tried and hanged Calico Jack and the drunken crew that wouldn't fight. Anne and Mary go in front of the judge, reveal their gender, that they're girls, and he doesn't care. They're still pirates. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they said, basically claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. He sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging until after the babies are born. Anne's dad is still here in the Charlestown area with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She marries again. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4. Obviously, we're going to count Mary Reed because we don't know. And has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending at the end because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. As far as Mary Reed goes, she died a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Say discreetly is because the people that are going to be going down that alley did not pay to get filmed. You guys did. So, very discreetly. He's actually probably perfect height. There's nobody down there right now, but in the event tours go through there, we don't want to be filming them. Like, you're perfect. Like, I need to give you a job. Like, I wish more people did that. Just held it right by their belly and kept it there all night. So this is Philadelphia Alley. Everybody tells the same story down here because this used to be called Dueller's Alley. This is where some of the duels for Charleston actually occurred. So, of course, I'm going to tell you the story a little bit differently because you're ghost hunting. It's a very popular ghost tour stop. That's why I say we're getting into that more popular area.
Does anyone live here?
No, it's not a house. It's a building. Like, it's a office building that
I
they're
hope
getting
no
ready
one
to tear
walks
down.
through that door.
There's nobody in there. They're getting ready to tear it down. They're going to be putting a giant hotel right along these fences all the way down to the end. So it's going to be one giant hotel here. So I'm waiting for the construction so I know how to reroute my group. So what do you got?
Is Justin or Justice anything?
Say it.
Justice, possibly. Kind of vague. We'll see if something else pops up around that. Did you say you guys heard something else? Too?
I heard Swift. She heard Eliza.
You heard Eliza?
Yeah.
And you had the P.
Yeah? Is P something?
Pink name.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Eliza P.
So the funny thing is they also heard the word baby as we were exiting the alley and we're getting close to St. Philip's Church. Now I'll tell you the story of the baby at St. Philip's Church once we get closer to it. But we do have Eliza P, even though she's not buried over there. But I will tell you that Charles, her husband, is. And more likely that we've been seeing things wrapped around Eliza Lucas Pinckney, the second wife that we talked about with the indigo, the one that's buried in Philadelphia. We've been seeing more clues about her as we get closer to Charles's grave, the one husband who had two wives named Eliza. So again, just very ironic that we have Eliza and P show up along the way. So again, just putting the clues together for you. As far as Justice goes, we'll see about that one, because that one's it's a little vague. Let's see if something else pops up as you guys are listening in to what's going on here. Let's talk about this duel, so you guys know what actually happened here. There was a doctor that moved down here from Rhode Island. His name is Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents, so she's loaded, like she's got a lot of cash, and she has an attorney that's helping her out with all of this money. The attorney thinks that the doctor is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. I think he's after your cash. So to prove that he's not, he comes down to Charleston. On his way into town, the coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. He had a gunman inside of where he was dropping him off for him to stay and start his new life here. But somebody was walking by. His name was Ralph Isaacs. I'm going to stop on Ralph because Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. R.I. does show up here a lot. Just kind of like you have the letter P, it comes up in different formats. But I just told you two different characters. We need the secondary clue so we know who it belongs to. But anyway, Ralph says to the doctor, you don't want to stay here. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you and take all your money. But I have friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there and you'll be safe. The doctor takes him up on the offer. The two become friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making, which means he's proving that he wasn't after Amanda's money. Amanda's now moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time. Now, every haunted city you will ever visit in the future has a cliched whistling ghost. I know they do. We actually have proof of this one. Let me continue. Him and Ralph go see plays together, kind of like going to the movies. But they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. That's just the way things worked in Charleston back then. So one night they went to go see Richard III, a Shakespeare play, and they're arguing over the new actress afterwards. The doctor thought the new actress was great. Ralph, not so much. When they start arguing, Ralph starts basically insulting his fiancée back home in Rhode Island. So they go their separate ways after getting a pretty heated argument. Ralph has friends here at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, we're going to go to Dueller's Alley and we're going to settle this, meaning somebody's going to die over an argument over an actress. So they come down, they take their 10 paces apart from each other, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened at a duel, even in Hamilton. But Ralph has his one shot, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor didn't die either, but Ralph proved his point that he's still angry. The doctor's friends pick him up, because obviously he dropped to the ground, took him home to 59 Church Street, and he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. He's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out the bullet himself. So, they say as you walk through the alley, you can hear the whistles from the doctor. Yes, keep in mind, if you're going to do this on your own, because I've already told you I've been kicked out of this alley, I can't take you down there. Turn on your voice recorders on your phones, have fun with it, listen to the recording later, and see if there's any whistles in the background. But I do want you to keep in mind that every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street from the other side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night because we're going to end there. My garage is there. I have to pass the alley in order to get back to my car. So I always throw a whistle down the alley every single night. So here's how I got booted out, because this is the fun part for all you adults. This alley didn't always come all the way through. It used to be basically hold the livestock for the city of Charleston. The bricks on the other side are older. They are sun-dried bricks from slave children. I would always show off those bricks because there's one full handprint in one of those bricks and fingerprint swipes in those bricks. And I'm sure you guys picked up that I'm all about the history. So, that kid is not staring at that brick in the afterlife. But my teams always wanted to huddle around that brick and try to get a reading from it, or a spirit box, or something around it. However, one night, my entire team, November 26th of 2020, wanted to huddle around that brick and try to get a reading. Well, it's outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. He come out screaming because I was out of bounds and I was in the wrong, and we moved on. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. So the next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour. So I worked in retail for over 20 years. I finally took a Thanksgiving off. The next day was Black Friday, November 28th. And these dates are specific and for a reason, so bear with me. I get a phone call from the tourism office asking me to reroute my tour or go down halfway like everybody else. Well, it's not fair for my group of 10 to be working around 20 to 60, because obviously you guys are working with the devices. So I decided I'm going to reroute, but not tell my team a whole lot about what we're going to be doing, because I don't know a whole lot. I did tell them I didn't even believe in the story, which was true at the time. So before we leave, somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box. I did not tell them who we were going to be investigating. Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate.
We heard Anne in the parking lot.
Which, like, back at the Pinckney Mansion site? It's interesting because Anne is actually said to be seen all over town. So I'm not surprised that you heard the name Anne over there. The next thing that happens is I get up there and I told what little bit I did know. I'm a vampire guy, so this whole pirate story thing, like, I don't buy it. So we get up there and somebody else hears the number 300. I have no idea what that means. Kind of like we heard 1-800. So I did the research the next day, and we were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I keep taking you guys back up there in hopes that we're going to continue to find more things. It is a hit or miss location, though. You're going to see why once we get up there. It is, again, another very popular spot. Did you guys... Well, you just put in your earbud. Have you guys heard anything before we move on to the crazy pirate story?
Nothing much.
I heard someone say she or he died.
Huh?
She or he died. And any words showing up on your word list? Give me the list.
Secret week, independent, launch, debate, room.
Debate could be the duel.
It could, but it's also listening to radio stations, so my thought automatically goes, there's a lot of like voting going on tonight, like 5 different states.
Yeah.
So again, I'm trying to find the validation, but I do like where your mind's going. Like it was a debate back and forth of who was the actress, like, and how good was she. I like it. I'm going to go with it. Again, we're going to see what more comes out of it, because we're going to get clues from this space throughout the rest of our evening together, so we're going to do one more stop. And it's kind of like the bleed over we could have gotten from Big John's into the Pinckney Mansion site, but we're not going to hear from, like, Thomas and Harriet and those folks. It's going to be from Charles, if we do hear from them at all. So, let's head over to the Powder magazine, where we're going to talk about crazy pirates. So if you guys are fans of the movies, like, you're going to hear about some of the real people that they based that movie off of. So, and your device up right there.
Captain Jack Morgan.
I'll hold that.
You ready to hold it again? Hold it.
O'Reilly's. I still think Ozempic is better than O'Reilly's.
Yeah, that's
It sounds better. You heard Sanders? Did you hear that?
Something funny. Ready?
Katy Perry?
Gold.
Huh?
Did you hear gold?
No. You can say it.
Baby. That's why he doesn't know how to spell.
Experience your journey, fun together.
Yeah.
Building back there.
All right. Miss Julia, we're gonna swap.
It spelled something.
Let me see what it's.
It didn't spell anything.
It didn't. It's a bunch of garbage, huh?
Yes.
So this one's gonna go back to you. It's already recording, so all you gotta do is hold it like you did before. All right.
You want me to tell you what I heard?
Let me get out my notebook. Wow, you're like anxious. I love it.
Yes.
Love it, love it, love it.
I heard something too.
I figured you both would, so.
Did you hear the
It
same
was back
thing?
on.
I don't think
No,
so.
we're going to talk about yours here in just a moment. So,
Did you hear
let's
the
start
same
with yours
thing?
because you are
You cannot wait. Yes, she's always very impatient.
Thanks.
All right, what did you get?
Jesse,
Okay.
Rubble, House. And Rubble was right before House.
Okay, so like Rubble House.
Yeah,
Like the house turned to rubble.
yeah.
Anything
And
else?
1-800.
Yeah, we're going to throw that one away.
I didn't think that helped.
Wait, hang on. That actually might be relative. When did you hear that?
Oh, like right.
Kind of when we left.
No,
When we
it
left?
was right over here. Like one block down.
Okay. 1800. 1-800. 1-800. See, this is
Yeah.
why you guys keep me around. All right.
Okay, mine is not as interesting as his, but down this alleyway, I'm sure it's not anybody, but I heard someone say hello in like a deep voice.
Okay. Anything else coming out of it?
No,
Just hello.
just sick beats and glitching.
And I heard you walk into that puddle thing.
Yeah, and then you walk in a puddle. That's true.
Any names show up on yours?
Yes.
What do you got?
Adam and Wyatt.
I like Adam for some reason. So just so you guys know, we are next to a hotel room, so we're not going to be here very long. The lights over here are on, so that means somebody actually is occupying that room. And again, the reason I bring us here is to talk about a paranormal theory. So here's the weird thing. I told you we're dealing with a residual ghost here. Here's what's going on. When we came down that East Bay Street and we
Turn
were
it down.
waiting on that last crosswalk to come over, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. You're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. So people used to live here. I have the full list of every person that's ever lived here. So the names I commonly get every 6 to 7 weeks are Benjamin and John. Now, we're in week 6 of that loop. So I was kind of hoping and expecting for you guys to hear one or both of those names. Doesn't mean that they're not there, just means you guys may have missed it along the way. They will also show up on the word list, but again, we never know where they're actually going to show up. Here's the weird thing about Benjamin and John. They both lived here in 1801. Now, do I have anything significant about Benjamin and John? No. When I say people lived here, I mean 2 to 5 people lived here at a time. So when I get Benjamin and John every 6 to 7 weeks, they both lived here at the same time frame, and there were 4 different Johns that lived here. So John likes to give us his last name too, Johnson. His name was John Johnson. So we will get John, Johnson, Benjamin, all in the same night, every 6 to 7 weeks. Here's what we're dealing with. It's called the stone tape theory. In a nutshell, you're standing on Belgian blocks. They've been here since 1739 that we know of. So with that being said, they're made of granite. When you break granite apart, it does not release an electrical charge like, say, quartz. Okay, we're getting a little too sciencey here, but the gist is that these bricks are not supposed to have any EMF to them whatsoever. So I want you to push that antenna back in and literally pick any brick and put your device on top of the brick. Like, just set it down on the ground and let me know if you get any numbers out of it. I would normally expect up to a 1.1, but there are times where we get readings all the way up to 15 to 16 milligauss out of a location where there's no electricity in the bricks. So right now I'm seeing like a 1.4 steady, so we probably don't have much going on, which also explains why we didn't hear those specific names of Benjamin and John. The other cool thing that actually happened down here was the Freemasons actually had a lodge down here, hence where it gets its name from, Lodge Alley. We will get terms wrapped around the Freemasons from time to time. Freemason, Mason, symbols, brick, and the word Illuminati loves to show up on the red sphere boxes. Illuminati, first off, you're listening to radio stations for you adults. Who the heck is saying Illuminati on the radio? So, secondly, why are we only hearing it in this space? 6 times last year alone, and so far 3 times this year. So again, all verified. Weird. And again, it's not always like the same type of voice that we're hearing it with. It's always a different type of radio station. So you're not getting anything above a 1.4. I'm going to count it as we're not getting anything out of the bricks tonight. Now, the next space we're going to is another alley. However, I can't take you through it. The reason why is because I've been kicked out. So you guys have all the blinky lights and noisemakers and all that stuff, and it is considered residential at the end of it. So we're going to talk about what happened there outside of the alley. Weird that they're on that route because that's residential, and we're definitely after 6 p.m. and we're not supposed to be that way. Oh, it's because it's a cop. It's a police officer.
Don't see that in Florida.
Yeah, definitely not. We don't see it here very often either. I think that's the second time that I've ever seen a cop on a horse. And the first time was last
just
week.
walked by.
I was at 2 of them at the same time. I thought it was a carriage ride because when you guys see horses, it's normally a carriage ride, and we all have our routes that we're allowed to be in. But we are going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to the next space. So again, we do capture a lot of orbs in here, and yes, you're recording, so good. As we exit, we're going to stop both videos. So if you guys can help Leo stop that video, that would be great, because we don't record people's houses the same way we don't record their cars. So same principle. I'll kind of stage you guys to get some good footage of the alley once we get up to the next space. But we have 2 more stops to go to, and yes, I will tell you how I got booted out of the alley, because it is relevant to the last stop that we actually go to. So let's walk along these cobblestones. Everybody watch your step. They do break up a little bit further as we move along.
Should I stop recording now?
Let's wait till we get to the exit, to the very end, and then stop it.
So,
Why are you doing that? So rude. Ow!
Along the way, then I will tell you. How about that?
No, that hurts. Nick, I heard baby.
Okay.
If that helps with baby George.
You heard George as well?
No, just baby.
Oh, just baby. Well, we're away from the Pinckneys right now, but baby is definitely relevant to one of the spaces we're getting close to. So.
Good.
That's what you heard? Not good?
No,
you heard
not
bad.
anything good.
Just turned purple blue.
I'm waiting to see if this is going to give us any relevant letters pertinent to where we are. Once I get 3 more, doesn't look like it's going to give us anything. We'll see. So basically, anytime there's an EMF spike, like from his device, it will stop and give us a letter.
Oh, okay.
It's basically how it works. I don't think it's giving us anything. Eliza, give us your initials. That's not one of them. Your initials are? Okay, you passed up the E. And the P. I got nothing in that mess at the bottom. You see the letters at the bottom? Yeah, there's nothing in there.
Yeah.
Give it 1 more letter and I'll pull this all together. Y, of course. Alright, I'm going to call that one.
Maybe the W, the V, and the Y are connected. Because 2 V's would be a W.
Would be. I see where you're stretching it. Of course, now I get a P out of it. Give it 1 more letter. If it doesn't give us the direct, nope. Alright, that's giving us nothing. Alright, guys, let's head to the back. Let me get you guys some answers. Back to where we started.
This thing is heavy. You want to hold this? How heavy is this? Meh. I'll take this one.
Actually, hit the square on your camera. Kind of give your hands a little bit of a break. Antonio, do you know how to stop that thing?
No.
Okay, so there's a button right here. Go ahead and tap that button. Oh, real quick. That's why I call it ghost hunting.
Anything clear that you can actually hear.
In this location, so it's pretty high. And those are really high frequency spot. So I'm going to show him more about this device. We are going to stay in the confines of this lot. So the two of you with cameras, part of the other reason I like to hand them to kids is because people don't like their cars to be filmed and they don't like to be filmed themselves. So Antonio, you are holding that thing wonderfully. Nice and low, nice slow movements as you're walking around. And again, you guys are going to be focused on that spirit box anyway. So, and as far as Leo goes, nobody's going to be faulting him for trying to steal somebody's car with a thermal imaging camera. So he's in the perfect height range for that. So, so I'm going to take a few minutes with Joel, but we are going to spread out in this lot. I'm going to be bouncing around with all of you to see what's going on with your devices. So Joel, you're going to hang back with me for just a minute.
Ow. There's some there. Oh. Oh, it's human.
I need to hear some ears.
Or names.
No,
Or numbers.
What age she, yeah. What age she was when she died. What year
I'm just
she
hearing
died.
songs.
Yeah.
$1834. You heard that?
Yeah.
Oldest and youngest, 1834.
What do we got?
Oldest and youngest, 1834.
You heard the phrase oldest and youngest?
Yes.
Okay.
And 1834.
1834 is a little late.
Yeah, it is late. That's why I was like, huh, what does this mean?
And those are not the ages, 18 and 34.
Yes.
Just so you know. You're close, but no cigar. So, but you're on the right track. You're hearing things. That's a good
Yes.
thing. Now, not everybody can hear that, believe it or not. I get guests all the time that struggle with it, so I have to give it to somebody else. So again, you're on the right track. You're hearing good things. So it's not like, hey, welcome to Charleston, buy a Kia.
I also heard not bad.
Not bad? We'll take it. It's a not bad try, right?
Yeah.
Where's that accent from?
Romania.
Oh, nice. I'm actually Ukrainian, so it sounded a little familiar to me.
Yeah.
So
You don't have much of an accent.
no, I don't have any accent.
Yeah.
I have an Ohio accent. That's what that
Yeah.
is. I was born and raised in Ohio, but my great grandparents came over from the Ukraine.
Yeah. So
So
you are been speaking.
yeah, I heard vaguely. I had other family members, that spoke Ukrainian, but up in Youngstown, Ohio, where I'm from, like it's a very, like there's a lot of Czech Republic up there, there's a lot of Romanians, Hungarians, like, so I recognize the accent, like the dialect.
Yeah.
So again, it was a matter of like, I know that dialect, I just can't put my finger on it. So, you got a what?
It smells good.
Huh?
It smells good.
I keep hearing IC.
Yeah.
Did you hear Annie? Or call me Annie.
Right where he's standing?
Yes, exactly.
It is on 91.4.
But yeah, that's basically where the words are coming from.
Okay.
So again, it's a hit or miss. With
Okay.
words.
Okay.
What do you guys?
Keep
think?
hearing IC or ICU or something.
I see you. I'm gonna put down like I see, like as in I see you.
Yes.
Interesting. I need to get his numbers because it looks like he had a bunch of jump ups real quick. So.
They don't really have to move, but still. We need the exercise after the car.
Exactly. They do? Yeah,
I
they
do pull-ups, yeah. That's what I heard. Love, I'm moving on. I'm moving. You heard that? That was clear. He would do.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going back this way. We got a really clear, the Lord said he would do. That was really
What
clear.
would he do? Are you hearing all of these things too?
Yeah.
Again,
That was very clear, as the Lord said.
yeah, that's not an easy device. I'm glad you guys grabbed that.
I just need to stand behind someone and take a video.
Ow! I sit.
Did you hear your childhood?
Yeah. I did.
Spending time?
That was on the close.
Heaven and Earth? I think that's one of the radio channels.
Purple is one of my favorite colors. I want to see it.
You guys are looking at each other like, did we just hear the same thing?
I'm doing it slowly.
I was trying to do too many times.
Huh?
Too many things at the same time.
Yeah, I know. You wanna move around some more?
Move the cube off.
Word.
Move the cube away.
Oh. I keep hearing big energy.
Now, what is that? Move the cube away.
Huh?
Move the cube away.
Why? I'm trying to solve it. Fine.
Okay, welcome to our technical first stop. We're just here for a few minutes so we can talk more about your devices. This is what we call the big red barn lot. This is where we keep some of the horses for your carriage rides. It's right behind you, Joel. I know you're looking around like, what's red? So the history here is really simple. And I made it that way on purpose so we can actually talk about your devices. The history is that this is the same red barn that used to have horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Keywords here being delivery, milk, and eggs, obviously. Anything relatable to a stable. So let's talk about those spirit boxes that you guys all have in your hands. First off, they're not Ouija boards. I have the Ouija board and a digital Ouija board on my bag. So with that said, what's the first question everybody wants to ask a communication device when they get it, including a Ouija board?
What does it do?
What does it do?
Are you out there?
Are you out
Who
there?
is out there?
What's your name?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I like the "Are you out there?" because that's a yes or no question. Because if somebody answers no, that means somebody's out there. So again, the whole point of that exercise was the proof. What do you got?
Hunting.
Of course.
Sorry.
Of course it says haunting. Remember, 80% of that's going to be garbage because it's meant to try to scare us.
Okay.
It's funny. She got all. You should have seen the look on her face. That's why I'm laughing. Now, normally with spirit boxes, when I'm training people how to use them at this space, I tell them to ask questions they already know the answers to. For example, what color is the big red barn if anybody's here? Obviously, we are looking and listening for the color red. However, the color red might not be available to the song lyrics and DJs that we're listening to on the red spirit boxes. The words fire truck, blood, heart would actually be acceptable because those three things are specifically red. What color is the big red barn? Heart. I'm good with that. However, most of the night I'm going to require that there's a secondary verifier to be able to kind of conclude that something might be paranormal. Another example. Let's say Katie's word list actually has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything to us over here by itself, but then Anca over here, here's the number 40. Together, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You guys see where we're going to be piecing clues together all night long? Not everything is going to be paranormal, and I might say, and I'm going to withhold information, by the way, on purpose, so that way you guys actually have a genuine experience. The other piece of that is so that when I'm writing all of these things down, it gives me that first thing to look for when I'm going through your data tomorrow morning. Even if I miss it, you're still going to have all the information of things that I wrote down and things that we heard in real time. So, cameras. He is infatuated with that thing. I don't even think I need to teach him how to use it. So, what I normally do tell people with this thing is try to keep one of us in the picture if you can.
Yeah, you got his feet in there, right?
Yeah, you always want to keep somebody's skin in there. That gives us an array of color on the screen. The other thing too is to try to keep the sky out, which is why I love handing that to short people because they do pretty well at keeping the sky out. The reason why is because the blue dot is going to default to the sky looking for a surface. Obviously there isn't one. So again, that's the reason why I love handing it to short people. All right, Antonio, your camera, nice slow movements. That's the only thing I'm going to ask for out of you because your videos, guys, when you guys get these back, they're going to go to YouTube. That way you can watch them however you want to. TV, tablet, phone, much easier to watch. And, you know, after you get it back versus the real time because your screens are so small. So again, I will spot check these videos and kind of see what I see. Fingers crossed, like that new version of that camera, I've been capturing orbs like crazy. And it's pretty easy to debunk bugs passing by. So they're not insects flying by us. They're actual giant orbs. So we'll kind of see what we capture tonight.
I don't see anything.
And you might not in real time. That's why we record everything. So, Uncle, we got to teach him the ways. We got to show him. All right, so are we ready to deep dive into history and get away from football players and ponies? Any words coming up on your word list before?
Yes.
What do you got? Hit the little white box next to the word.
Hunting, cried, and 60 are the most recent ones.
Yeah, I got nothing on that. Okay. All right, let's head over to the next spot.
That thing's so annoying. So annoying.
Yeah, just do your best.
Oh, Michael Jackson.
There you go.
Really? Just out of nowhere?
Yeah, it just said terrace. I don't know if it's a street or something bad
Like
happened.
a bad person? Like
Yeah, a terrace.
hey. What did you think you heard?
Terrace, like an actual bad guy.
A terrorist.
Yes, when we were talking.
I think I kept someone in the thing, so.
Okay, so you're getting the gist of how to listen.
I heard technology pretty clear
Okay.
when we were walking by over there.
We
You
do
heard
have a
it
lot
too.
of technology, don't we? Did you
Yeah.
hear anything on yours? Like, as far as your end?
Yeah.
Did you hear anything else that we didn't hear? It's okay if you did.
No idea.
Yeah, there was something else.
Well, maybe your video picked it up. That way I can catch it when I'm spot
Maybe.
checking it. All right. So, any number showing up on yours? You got 2.3. 0.3. So anything up to 1.1 is going to be considered natural from the Earth. So that's why I say 2.5 and higher. Okay. So welcome to your first space. You made it to a parking lot. Congratulations. I told you guys you weren't going to be going to the normal ghost tour type places. So first off, spirit boxes, I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You will be getting the answers from your spirit boxes. So what the heck is this place? This used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion. It actually sat in the front of this space facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there and came all the way across, and we are standing where the slave quarters were for the home. So, who the heck were these people? They had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. The father was also named Charles. That's 3 Charleses, in case you guys lost track of that. That's why we look for secondary verifiers, so we know which Charles we're actually talking to. He's doing great. I can't wait to see his perception. Like, I love it. So, I love when I have, like, especially as short as him, like, on the tour. Like, I can't wait to see what the video is going to entail.
Cover that camera.
He's good. I'm watching him. And he's got it on the right side and everything. So, on the correct side. So, he's good. He's infatuated. So, the son and the nephew, Charles, they were both signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here. So, we're going to talk about Eliza, because she has a much different story anyway. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. So I say that specifically because we're talking about colonial times, the 1700s. So if you were to ask her how old she was when she got married, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14 like they would have been back in colonial times. Today's standards, yes.
I did just hear 2 voices, a girl and like man saying Eliza.
So normally I don't care what the gender is, whether it's a boy or girl, it's all about what they're saying. So because yours is recording and Eliza is such a weird name, I'm going to write it down, but I'm going to want to try to verify that, because that is such an odd name that we normally wouldn't hear in today's type of radio channel. So, today's standards, right? So the only reason I bring this up is because her husband, Charles, was over double her age. So if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, you may even hear Charles's age when that comes up. You might get both numbers. We never know. But she married Charles because her father over in England thought he was dying. He's trying to bring all of his children back home again so he can see him before he dies. Eliza got married instead because she didn't want to go. She didn't think he was dying. So it's 1744. You don't get married for a green card in 1744. We're not even a country yet. So she did marry Charles in 1744. Dad gets better and he starts sending her gifts from England apologetically. One of the gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. None of us have it on tonight. Awesome. No examples. So, she didn't know what to do with these indigo seeds when she got them, so she had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here. Once she figured it out and experimented with it here, she moved it to a cash crop plantation just south here by Stono River. Calls her father and says, rice plantation's going downhill. We can make a killing with the indigo. So now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. The funny thing is nobody else tours this space, even though it used to be this. But that's her business. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why everybody's here. So with yours, I'm going to have you focus on the children. I told you there was at least one. Do you remember what his name was?
Charles. Eliza.
Charles, right? So there are more children. You can ask Eliza how many children she had and what their names were. That's it. The reason why is because there's a tragedy among those children. If we poke the bear, all activity will stop. Have you gotten any numbers yet? Up to 0.7. So we're still calling that a wash. As far as your device, Katie, I want you to focus on 2 sets of questions. So first, where's the mansion? It's obviously not here anymore. Ask what happened to it, and maybe we can get the date of when that tragedy occurred. The other piece would be Eliza's age at marriage, possibly at death. Whatever you want to go after. Anca and Antonio. I'm giving you the granddaddy of all questions here. Eliza's death. Ask anything you want to. How old she was, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Yeah, there's a lot going on in there. Notice that all of the questions I kind of distributed were not yes and no questions. So also keep in mind that even though you are asking questions, those answers can go anywhere. That's why we use so many different spirit boxes. Not to mention, I'm going to be pulling out the little new device that I have. I do have to work with Joel to show him how to use this device. Start the recording just to make sure the humidity is not going to mess with our device over here. So I will kind of keep an eye on it. I'll be watching the front of it from time to time, making sure the light's still blinking, and so forth and so on. I'll give you both of you guys the cues to start and stop your videos, because when we're walking in between spaces, it's pointless for us to be recording. So go ahead and grab this by the handle, just like that. There you go. You got it.
Why's mine harder to hold?
Spirit
You
boxes.
can get one, Greg.
Yeah.
Spirit boxes.
Now, we're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So, basically, in a nutshell, when you're watching your YouTube videos and your TV shows, this is the white noise that they give you, and then your host will tell you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it. However, those disembodied voices are a rarity. So we are looking for crystal clear voices that come through, and really the only way to capture that is by using radio chatter. So song lyrics, DJs, and commercials are going to come through here because I have them slowed down on purpose. Calvin, if you hear a song lyric or a DJ talking, I want to know what they're saying. The reason why is because it's a 50-50 shot. We can tie it to the location of where we are, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. It happens all the time. So no matter how silly you think it might be, it might actually be relevant. The cool thing is that Calvin's going to be the only one to hear this in real time. You're going to have an earbud in, which I don't want back because your earwax is gross. You get to keep it. So this is recording the entire session for us all, for me to upload it to the website tomorrow morning, and I will spot check it on top of writing down whatever Calvin hears in real time. So again, I don't want these back, they're yours. Your volume button is right here. It's a wheel, so make sure not to hit the button next to it. Just feel for the wheel and making sure it's turned all the way down. Undo the twist tie for your earbud and throw one of them in your ears.
Okay, so if I hear anything, I should actually tell you.
Yeah, and you're going to see it, like I'm going to be following up with you. So obviously if I'm giving history and whatever, unless it's something very, very specific, then I'll come to you and say, okay, what have you got? So you kind of have to remember a little bit, just so I can get through the history pieces without, a lot of interruptions.
So listen to this and you sometimes.
You can always turn the volume down and it won't mess up the recording.
Or you
So that
could
way
just
you
not
can
listen to
it
him.
when I give it back to you tomorrow. Or you can not listen to me. Either way. Happens all the time. Anca, do you want to try one of those too? With the earbud?
Okay.
It's not easy. Younger folks, like the shorter people, do really well with these. So the reason why I asked. So I'm going to set yours up, but it's not going to record. So again, we're going to be relying on you in real time with what you hear so I can write it down. The cool thing is that you're going to have an extra earbud that Antonio can listen to as well. So that way you guys can kind of both verify what's actually going on with this guy. So again, your earwax is also gross. Sorry, sweetheart, but that's just the way it works. So undo the twist tie. Your volume button is right here at the top. Just make sure it was turned all the way down.
Do you have a Ouija board?
Not here.
Aw.
Let's see. So this spirit box, we don't actually have to listen to this one. So this one works kind of like an obelisk would on your TV shows. If you're unfamiliar with that, it's basically going to give us words from time to time in the middle of the screen. So this has 9,100 terms and phrases in it. This is a phone app. 80% of what's going to come up out of this thing is going to be garbage, okay? Because that's what it's actually meant for, just trying to scare us and kind of, do weird things. However, the other 5 to 20% that we're going to find, because I will give you every word that comes out of here, is going to be relevant to our space and based on the location and or the person we're talking about in history. The cool thing about it is that it saves all of those words to a list. That list, we don't want to rate you, we don't care. They have timestamps next to it, so it kind of helps me where to listen and watch for the videos and that sort of thing. You will get the full list back because sometimes something is relevant to one of you and you just didn't want to tell me in real time. So that's why I give you the full list back. I'm going to clear out last night's list. They actually had 99 terms and phrases show up.
That's fine, you can do it.
That was actually quite a bit. And actually a lot of it was quite relevant. So I would say that was closer to the 20% last night. It was kind of nice. With this one, okay, this one's going to go to you.
Okay.
But I don't want to see every word that pops up. I will come to you when I want to see the list.
Got it.
Last but not least, Joel, you're my multitasker. So normally you guys would see these on TV, right? So pretty easy K2 EMF meters. This job is too easy. So we're going to be using one of these instead. This is a Mel meter. It's going to have 3 different functions. It's the same thing as the device I just put away on the first function, but in digital format. So anything above a 2.5 is the first reading on the device I just put away. So I want to know anything above 2.5 in each location that we go to. The bottom number is ambient temperature. If Leo finds something on his camera, you and I can debunk it or prove it with the ambient probe right here at the top. The last thing that it has is what we call a REM pod. You know what a REM pod is, Calvin?
No.
REM pod is a motion sensor. If anything gets close to that antenna, it's going to go off. I'm not touching it. I'm touching it now. Obviously, there's different tones, different colors. We're going to talk more about that at the first space we use it because we don't always use it in every single space. So I'm going to have you just get used to the way the numbers move around on this guy, and then obviously when we get to our first location where it's viable, you'll tell me if you see anything above 2.5. Now, the new device.
When it's above 2.5?
I don't know the name, but I recognize that from that TV show that I was watching.
Okay.
So, this guy. This is the brand new Envoy. They're not even showing these on TV yet. This actually just came out less than a month ago. The Envoy basically has letters on it, just like a spirit board would, and it's going to work off of EMF detection. So if there's a high spike in EMF, basically whatever Joel is measuring, it's going to stop on a letter and give it to us in a series of letters. Basically using this the same way a Ouija board would work. So it's basically a digital Ouija board. In essence, it also gives us the option to turn it over to numbers. So if I want to know a specific year on something, I can say, can you tell us what year that actually occurred? And it works in the exact same format. So again, I'll be kind of flicking back and forth with this guy, playing around with the settings. Again, this is brand new. So again, we're going to see how this is actually going to work for us tonight. So this will be on the side of my bag, and I'll pull it out at each location after I give you the pieces of history that we'll need to know to actually investigate. So, all of you are going to have questions about your devices, that's a promise. So, I'm going to be working with you all one-on-one. Is that still sitting on 87.5? Why is that not spinning?
I was just thinking about how excited I was about this, and the words that came up were teenage.
There we go.
He broke it.
What did it come up with?
Teenager and drawing. And I swear to you, I was thinking about how old Cal seems.
I'm almost 11.
But he's only almost 11. And it came up with teenager and drawing, and he loves drawing. But
Very interesting.
Can you go in my mind?
Well, we're going to see if maybe a lost loved one came with you.
Okay.
So one of the things that the other ghost tours can't do is give you the devices and actually prove any of that if it actually occurs. So I don't want to know anything else about anybody you may have lost, but if something pops up, obviously you're going to be screaming for joy that somebody came through. So let's talk about why we started here. And by the way, feel free among the four of you to intermingle your devices. And the same thing goes for the two of you. Obviously, I know it's just the two of you, but feel free to intermingle them. I want you to experiment with different devices. There's a reason why we start here, but I'm going to take a drink of water because I'm pretty sure Anca's going to make me talk all night because that's what she paid me to do. So,
Just her?
No, they didn't pay you.
so Big John's. We're going to talk about this place first. There's a reason why we start here. The place is haunted. Of course it is. That's why we're here. Big John was a football player. This was his place. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Now, anytime I give you the history or anything about a building, I will always slow down on the keywords for the 3 different spirit boxes we're using tonight. Sorry, I had to do a quick count because I actually have 6 different types of spirit boxes. See which ones I actually handed out tonight. But anyway, obviously the keywords here are going to be 47, New York, Giants, anything relatable to a bar, and the name John. So, here's why the place is haunted. Big John used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not, if they were teenagers. However, one night 2 guys came in, they weren't old enough to drink. So John sees what's going on, he slams down his beer and goes over and just starts beating these guys up, just pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots went off. John gets hit in the neck, but the bullet lands behind him in the wall. John gets up after being the only one being shot, by the way, goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the guys on the floor in ambulance. So what's haunting the place since nobody died in that story? It's the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if this new renovations of Big John's actually filled it in, Big John's blood is still here. People that sit in the front of the bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. This is kind of the heated warning. Fingers crossed we're going to be dealing with things like paranormal activity tonight. If anybody gets a headache, nausea, or dizziness, I'll need to know immediately. We're always going to blame the weather first, heat and humidity, right? Not everything's going to be paranormal. You're going to find that out real fast. But again, because there's little ones here, I'm going to move on. I just have to give the warning. I will also tell you, I think I forgot to tell you, that there's a voice recorder on my bag. It's right here on my shoulder. It's going to stay there all night long for a couple of reasons for you. First off, I don't listen to it when I'm going through your data. It gives me more time to watch your videos and listen to your spirit box audio. You're going to need it for the weird histories of the places we're going to. The other thing is to listen for EVPs, voices that you can't hear with your own ears. So again, I don't listen to it, so if you guys actually find something in there, get in touch with me. You're going to have my contact info more than just my phone number before we part ways. So, back to why we started here. Anca's like in her glory. Like, you're glowing right now. You know that, right? So we had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't already know that from any other tour in town, because we all talk about it, now you do. This building is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front side on East Bay Street, and a piece of it broke off, hit somebody in the back of the head, and killed them. And they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I said apparently and allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it up again. So, are you ready to go ghost hunt, Calvin? It's all up to you, buddy. You're in charge. Go have fun. Let me know what happens.
I heard someone.
He was totally ready to lead you guys into nowhere.
Bye.
You totally heard what?
I did hear someone say bullet.
Bullet?
Yes, bullet.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to write that
You
down
hear
on our next
anything?
space.
It just like.
I didn't hear anything.
Like all the glitz just stopped and someone said bullet.
Are you hearing anything now? Are you hearing the radio station sweep?
Nope.
You got to turn the volume up.
Yes, that's good.
You hear it now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Turn it all the way up.
Well, I'm going to be talking again here in just a moment. So let's go to our first stop so we can talk more about your devices because there's going to be
That's
more
good.
questions coming from Leo. Let's do this.
This is so scripted.
What?
It's so scripted. This sounds like me trying to find a radio station when we're driving.
Where that car is going.